Hello everyone, welcome to week 2 deep dive where we're going to be doing the changing backgrounds and the player animation. Now, before we get into the changing backgrounds, since we've already done this a couple of times, but this time around is going to be a little bit different. So the reason why the game is actually called Seasons is because you're actually going to be able to change it to different seasons or to different versions of that game. And this is actually made very easily through this game. So the first thing that we have that we can actually change based off of the season or based off of your theme, so you guys can start thinking about maybe what your theme can maybe change into later on. But we're going to go ahead and start that off with the stage. Later on, when we get the actual obstacles that we're actually making, we're also going to be able to change those as well. So we have a lot of things to kind of keep in mind when we actually start making all of these. So I'm going to go back onto my stage and I'm going to go into my backdrop. So I'm going to want to change this 4 times. My first backdrop that I have here counts as one of those 4 times. So that means I just have to create 3 new backgrounds. And these 3 new backgrounds have to kind of change the theme while still keeping in mind of my old theme. And I'll kind of show you what that kind of looks like. So we're going to go ahead and begin by first changing, like I said, our background. So I'm going to go ahead and hover over, choose a backdrop and click on my paint tool. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new one. So I'm going to click on my box tool. I'm going to maybe click on a different color. And I'm just going to go ahead and add this. And I'm essentially doing the same thing I did in the previous game for this one. Okay, so I'm just gonna add one last thing. Okay, so essentially you guys are doing this 3 more times, so I still need 2 more backdrops, again with different themes. So maybe this one can be more of a fall kind of sakura flower theme. Maybe this is more of a going into kind of like the woods or something. So you can see I'm starting to slowly change the theme with the backgrounds. And then we're going to go ahead and actually update the code for this. So once you are done creating, again, 3 backdrops, even though I don't have it, I can go ahead and just duplicate it. There should be 4 altogether. I'm not going to finish this because you guys are going to do this on your own, but I'm just going to go ahead and do this just so that you guys can see what this would look like. And then the last color for this one, let's make it a purple. Okay, so here I have my different backgrounds, and now I'm just going to go ahead and code it. So to code it, we're going to click on our yellow events tab. We're going to use when I receive play. I'm going to go into looks and I'm going to switch to backdrop 1 since that's the first one I want to start off with. Underneath this, we're going to go into control and add a forever. And then we're going to add an if then. Inside of operators, we're going to use the greater than symbol, especially since our score is always changing really quickly. So once our score is greater than 50, so for example, once it's 51, we're going to change our background. So keep in mind that everyone's scores gets updated faster or slower, especially if you guys changed it, but keep in mind the game. I believe the highest score that I heard was 100 for everyone else. So normally people get to 100. The highest one in my class was 300. So just keep in mind on the difficulty level. I'm going to leave my first change at 40. So once my score is greater than 40, I'm going to go ahead and go into looks, and I'm going to switch my backdrop to backdrop 2. So now I'm changing the entire season to backdrop 2. I'm going to right click and duplicate this and add it into the bottom. And now I'm going to do this at 60. And then my new season is going to change completely again. I'm going to duplicate this again. I'm going to change this to 80. And I'm going to change this to 4. Okay. So normally this is the time where we would stop, but because again we're doing seasons and we want it to repeat, we're going to do this just one last repetition. So I'm going to duplicate this again. I'm going to change this to 100, and I'm going to go back to my backdrop 1. And then I'm going to repeat the cycle one last time. So at 120, we're going to change it to backdrop 2. At 140, I'm going to change this to backdrop 3. At 160, I'm going to change it to backdrop 4. Okay. And you guys can always play around with this, making it longer or shorter, depending. It doesn't always have to follow the same number. Because I did it by 2s and you guys didn't need to do it that way. You guys can change it completely however you guys want. You can make one backdrop change faster and the next one will take a while before it changes again. So you guys can play around with all of those things. But once you're done, the next step is going to be creating the player animation.